accidental wrestling fan in the Zen room, and me and my girlfriend's home. It's Damon. Um, you know, Normally we would bring you this sort of content from the Podbros studios down in Wyandotte, but just got a lot going on. Didn't have a chance to get down there to record tonight for a traditional episode, but I figured I could give you guys a quick video episode. So today I wanted to talk about Clash of Champions coming up this Sunday, which would be, if my math is correct, because I can't do math for whatever reason, it would be September 15th. Looks like a great show from top to bottom. So the way I'm gonna talk about these matches is by going to WWE.com and looking at the Clash of Champions subsite or landing page, so to speak, and look at all the pictures from bottom to top. So we're gonna start with the Cruiserweight title match, which is a triple threat match between Humberto Carrillo, Lince Dorado, and the champion Drew Gulak. I'll read the blurb. WWE Champion Drew Gulak considers himself the law of 205 Live, but at WWE Clash of Champions, I don't keep saying WWE like when The Rock kept saying WWF and would correct himself. He will test the rules of nature against the high flying acrobatics of Humberto Carrillo, and I'm assuming this was made before Lince Dorado was added to the match a few weeks ago. Oni Lorcan and Humberto were the final two on their team in the Captain's Challenge. Um, by virtue of them surviving the match, they had to face each other in a one-on-one match that Humberto won to get this title shot. And I got to be honest, I don't know how Lince got added to the match. I have not been able to keep up with 205 Live. I know they've been building Lince up a little bit. I think there is a storyline of someone attacking Lince backstage, something to that effect. I'm not quite sure. There's a lot happening with 205 Live with Nigel McGuinness leaving. And Dio Madden from NXT, you may know him as Brendan Williams, former football player. He is now the third man in the booth for NXT as Nigel, Mauro Ranallo, and Beth Phoenix are the main NXT commentary team for USA. Another interesting thing that you should note going into the future of NXT and 205 Live. Triple H noted that 205 Live is kind of its own thing. It exists on its own island, I believe was the quote that he said. And I do agree. It was really kind of in this weird limbo because at first it was a part of Raw, then it just was its own thing, and 205 Live would have random people, basically guys who weren't doing much on Raw or SmackDown would show up, or random NXT UK and NXT guys would show up like Roderick Strong, Mark Andrews, and I like the idea of it moving towards being kind of a part of the NXT umbrella, kind of being within the NXT continuity, so to speak. I think there's a lot of great matchups and development that could happen by having it as a part of that brand. I really feel like having 205 Live in the Cruiserweight Championship under the NXT banner will kind of take the training wheels off a little bit as far as match quality goes. I feel like the Cruiserweights never really got a chance to shine on big stages. They got to shine on 205 Live all the time, but there was never any blowaway matches from the Cruiserweights on WrestleMania pre-shows or any of the other pay-per-view kickoffs. So, um, anyway, my prediction for that matchup: Drew Gulak wins, probably with a Cyclone crash on Lince Dorado, and he'll be the Cruiserweight champion heading into whatever they decide to do with 205 Live. There's no official word on that yet, but I'm I'm banking on a Drew Gulak Cruiserweight Championship victory. Next match: United States Champion AJ Styles versus Cedric Alexander. Will the age of Alexander finally begin in earnest? And I have to say, probably not. AJ seemingly just got the United States Championship, which I believe is his third reign after beating Ricochet. I also think it's kind of weird that they gave the belt to Ricochet just to have AJ beat him again. That's kind of weird. This match has the potential to be tremendous, to be an absolute clinic, an absolute barn burner. And I think that it's kind of telling that either I feel like AJ Styles match will be perfectly fine, like okay, or it's just gonna be a total banger. I feel like there's no middle ground. I feel like this match should be a banger, but I don't know why I've been so weary with AJ's body of work lately. The Ricochet match at SummerSlam was kind of a letdown. There's been a couple of Samoa Joe Nakamura matches that are letdowns, but I think it's also because of these guys' ability and their talent level that you expect so much more. So if the match isn't a 4 or 5 star banger, you just think it's terrible. But in any regard, I think AJ's going to retain. Maybe Cedric will beat him down the line and establish Cedric as a up and coming upper mid card kind of guy, like a really talented upper mid card babyface. But I also thought that's what they were going to do with Ricochet. But it looks like they're planning on maybe pushing Ricochet towards a main event run because he showed out in that triple threat match on Raw this past Monday at Madison Square Garden. Um, Next match, Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura versus The Miz. The Miz is out to restore the glory of the Intercontinental Championship when he battles Shinsuke Nakamura in a match of pure retribution for the illustrious title at WWE Clash of Champions. Um, Long story short, Nakamura has had Sami Zayn as his second and has been absolutely destroying The Miz and attacking him and hitting him with Kinshasas, knees to the head, running knees, bumayes, whatever the hell you want to call it. And this match, could be okay. I'm not super keen on it. It's the king of safe style versus the king of strong style, so it's going to be interesting in how they kind of set this match up. Are they going to let these guys go? Is it going to be kind of a clusterfuck with Sami Zayn running around? I'm not exactly sure, but um, I don't really rate this match too low, too high. I'm kind of indifferent towards it. Nakamura should win, although The Miz will probably tie Jericho's record of 9 Intercontinental title reigns at some point. Maybe they'll just have him win this weekend. I don't know. Um, I kind of don't really care about this match. This match, next one's going to be awesome, though. SmackDown Tag Team Championship, Big E and Xavier Woods versus The Revival. Somehow The Revival, who are Raw guys, have a tag team title opportunity, tag team title match against the New Day. Now, I know The Revival's been paired with Randy Orton over the last few weeks, so that kind of makes sense for all these guys to be kind of feuding and fighting with each other. This match is going to be tremendous. It's going to be just an absolute tag team clinic. Uh, I'm not sure if they decide to have the New Day lose all the belts this weekend. It'd be kind of weird to have the Revival be the champions, even though they're wild card guys or Raw guys. So I'm kind of at a toss up here. Um, I think the New Day should win just so we can have SmackDown guys have the titles, but I'm sure they're going to want to have FTRKO maybe have the tag titles and world title going into perhaps the Fox show next month. Fire and Desire and Alexa Bliss. Well, I messed that all up. Fire and Desire, which is Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, will be taking on the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I think Fire and Desire beat Nikki and Alexa in a non-title match, which is WWE's favorite trope of setting up title matches, is just to have the champion lose in a non-title match instead of coming up with a compelling story or reason for someone to be a number one contender. Fire and Desire, I think, are a better team. I think they could have better matches than Nikki and Alexa. I just kind of, I would rather have actual consistent cohesive tag teams be the tag team champions, as opposed to having just two people who are seemingly thrown together as a tag team. I'm not really big on the Alexa Nikki tag team, so hope Fire and Desire win. Raw Tag Team Championship: Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, just two veterans who they decided to throw together and make them a tag team. Basically, the modern day version of Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton will be challenging Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins for the Raw Tag Team titles. After the club had two sets of titles with the Raw Tag titles and the United States Championship, they just decided to beat them to set this storyline up of potentially Braun and Seth having all the titles, being the new two-man power trip. And I'm not super into the partners who don't like each other or trust each other being the tag team champions thing. This reeks of 1998 Attitude Era, when like Dude Love and Stone Cold win the tag team championship, or The Rock and The Undertaker winning the tag team championship from Edge and Christian, who are an actual existing team. Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler have this weird dynamic of Dolph basically just wrestles for himself, and then Bobby, who's an expert tag team wrestler, just does all the pickup work and handles all the peripheral stuff, which actually, now I think about it, it's kind of a cool dynamic of a guy who is the star and having a dude who's basically his, like, I'm trying to think of, like, his Horace Grant or something, or like his Kurt Rambis, like a guy who's good on his own but really thrives as being a team player. That's a cool dynamic. I guess Roode and Ziggler should win, but I think it's also kind of a red herring of trying to set up that potential drama of two tag team champions wrestling each other for the heavyweight title. And WWE pretending that hasn't happened before is pretty funny, because it happened in the main event of WrestleMania 23. I know, I was there. I saw it live. And if you ever want to see thousands of people be very, very upset, you should watch all of Detroit collectively groan when John Cena taps out Shawn Michaels with the STF back in 2007. SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley versus Charlotte Flair. SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley crosses paths with an old rival when she defends her title against 9-time Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. Should be a good match. The horsewomen have great chemistry against one another. This match is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be one of the better matches of the show. I just think the dynamic is weird because Charlotte has been an uber bitch for about the last 7 months, and Bayley's been a beloved babyface, and she turned heel 2 weeks ago, but they didn't really change anything about her character, which is weird. She still comes out with the happy music. She has the bright colors. She's essentially the same person, but we're supposed to believe that she's evil. I know people online have said that she's supposed to have what you would call a hero complex. Fuck! My girlfriend just... she just stepped on the deck and scared the absolute bejesus out of me. So shout outs to Paige for doing a run in there. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they're gonna do with this this Bayley heel turn. I feel like she should win this match to really establish herself as being evil. I think she should win by cheating or do some sort of underhanded tactic to win to really establish herself now as a heel. Even though Charlotte struggles as being a baby face, so I don't want her to be a face, but she's got to play the face because Bayley's got to be a heel. This would have worked better maybe if Sasha was a face, but I do like the dynamic of both of them being heels. It's interesting. It's different. It's a combination that's yet to happen where Charlotte and Becky are the faces. I don't think they've ever toyed with that combination before. Eric Rowan versus Roman Reigns in a no DQ match. I'm really excited for this match. It's going to be violent. It's going to be destructive. It's going to be a true heavyweight slugfest, as Kaz would say, and I'm really excited for it. Roman Reigns will look for payback against the superstar who has heinously attacked him, Eric Rowan, at WWE Clash of Champions in a no disqualification match. Now, um, I wasn't sure where this storyline was going, and I feel like it took too long to get to this point. And I think they did that because they had to stretch everything out to this pay per view. And I feel like this match could have even more heat and build to it if maybe they had revealed that it was Rowan earlier on that was behind these attacks. Even though I have a feeling that he's not behind the attacks. I have a feeling that something bigger is afoot because it just doesn't make any sense to do all this build up of it's not Rowan, it's not Rowan, it's not Rowan, and then it's just Rowan. It's really weird. I think that there's going to be an interesting swerve. I think something kind of out of left field is going to happen. Hopefully, maybe Luke Harper's involved somehow. That'd be pretty sweet. But, you know, anything could happen. It could just be something for Roman to do and a way for WWE to push Eric Rowan because maybe Rowan was filming some promos or doing something and impress someone and they wanted to give him another shot as a solo guy. WWE Champion Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton. At WWE Clash of Champions, Kofi Kingston will be out to prove he can best the Viper once and for all when he goes one-on-one with Randy Orton in a highly personal WWE title rematch. I felt like Kofi should have beat Randy at SummerSlam. I don't have a good feeling about Kofi retaining. I personally think in order to validate Kofi's story arc as a champion and finally getting to this point, he has to beat Randy Orton. There's no other choice. He has to beat him. He can lose it on Tuesday to anybody else after he beats Orton on Sunday. He's got to beat Orton. That's how I feel the storyline has been developed and written. That's the logical route for it to take. But like I said, we all know that Kofi is probably going to lose to Randy on Sunday at Clash of Champions. Girlfriend's running in again. Hey, Paige. Hey, Paige. Come say hi.
Are you talking second?
I'm recording for the podcast.
Kevin.
Kevin's running. The cat. Hello, cat.
Sorry.
I feel like that dude on the news channel when his kid's crawling into the office in the background. Yeah. Raw Women's Championship match. Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks will face off for the Raw Women's Championship in the mountaintop of the women's division. Apparently, SmackDown's women's division is just fucking chopped liver compared to the Raw women's division. Should be an awesome match. I feel like these two will fight in Hell in a Cell. I think maybe Becky will drop the title then. Either way, I'm excited for their series of matches that are going to be coming up. It seems rare that you get a women's feud or even championship feud. It seems really personal, where it really seems like things are going to get violent and aggressive. I mean, I know they've had more personal kind of storylines in the last couple of years, but a lot of it just seems to boil down to the women going, "You're a bitch." Well, you're a bitch too, and then they fight. Should be a good one though. I think Becky will retain somehow. And then, of course, your main event: Universal Champion Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman at WWE Clash of Champions. Universal Champion Seth Rollins will defend his title against none other than his fellow Raw Tag Team Champion Braun Strowman. Them actually being Raw Tag Team Champions remains to be seen after their match with Rude and Ziggler. Either way, I see Seth retaining and then them setting up some sort of match. Actually, I could see no contest because the Fiend's been teasing that he's going to see you in hell, and he said in one of the Firefly Funhouse, Jesus, say that 5 times fast, that he wants to face the winner at Hell in a Cell. I feel like it's a little early for having the Fiend character kind of in the title picture. I feel like that's kind of the kind of character that doesn't necessarily really need a title, but I'm cool with them freshening things up. They've got something good on their hands with the Fiend, and not I'm not really high. I'm not really high on Seth Rollins right now. Something about Seth, man, like I don't know, like something about him kind of weaned for me. Maybe it was just I don't know the whole series of Brock Lesnar matches. Maybe it was the weird tweets and him being like this super over the top company guy. I don't know what it is, but I haven't really been feeling Seth in the last few months. Braun, if he did win the title, would be cool, but it's way less interesting, and it's not as interesting as it was, a year and a half ago when he was the hottest act in the company. They should have capitalized on it then. But oh. Anyway, thank you for listening to the Accidental Wrestling Fan. And make sure you head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/podbros. You can support us that way. You can give us $1 for your favorite matches. I think it's $2 for a promo. Listen, I'm going to put the tiers here in the video. Read them over, check them out, go to Patreon, and send us some money so you can get me, John, or Cass to read a promo of your choice. And we're going to do a great dramatic reenactment of it. Your guys are going to love it. And of course, you'll love our shirts in our TeePublic store, tee.pub/lic/podbros. All kinds of great designs in there. And then because we have a partnership with TeePublic, we can curate different designs from the store. So any cool wrestling related designs, John Pod Van Dam related designs, just anything we think is cool, we can add to that store. So that way some of the great artists on TeePublic can get supported. I think that's it for Stuff to Shill. Paint the Canvas footage coming out at some point before the end of the year, hopefully. Yep, that's it. I'm Damon. Thanks for listening or watching, whichever one. And tuck your chin, brother.